broke. My my relationship is falling apart with my girlfriend, the woman I loved for the last 4 years. That's falling apart. And I have this one slither of hope. Writing was on the wall, man, and it slapped me real hard. And again, I wanted to end my life right then and there that night. It killed my soul to demean not only myself, but also to demean my art that I hold very dearly to me. And I put my whole heart and soul in what I do, to be abused in this fashion. And I performed. I felt sick. It just was, and the biggest part about it after that is like, well, for one, the dude didn't even stay to watch the performances. He just dipped off somewhere. And I distinctly remember leaving the party. The party's over. Everybody's pretty much just leaving. And I mean, nobody cared. Nobody cared. Nobody gave a damn a DAMN. Yeah, I'm not trying to not curse. But nobody cared, bro. Nobody cared that those performances happened. He didn't care. I'm walking out, leaving. I'm standing right into his face. This dude could care less about my existence. And it's just so, I just felt so used. I felt so dirty. I felt so insulted, humiliated. And I just left feeling so low. Probably the lowest I've ever felt in my life. And I just wanted to get the hell up out of there. Honestly, I just wanted to go. I just wanted to get out of there. And my future wife, my girlfriend, she's trying to organize people to go to, because she's a DJ, and she's organizing people to go to this after hours thing where she I don't know, she just spur of the moment but gonna go DJ. And I'm just like, yo, I'm just trying to go home. She's trying to convince me to go. I'm just like, no, I just gotta get up out of here. And I just, and she was just running around back and forth, bouncing off the wall. I was just like, you know what? I can't do this. Because the longer that I'm standing there, the more dead inside I'm feeling, and I'm just trying to get away. But when I get in the car and I go and I'm driving away and I'm getting on the highway, man, when I say that I never thought about harming myself, but I definitely, at that moment in time, I wanted to harm myself. I was feeling so many emotions and I felt so broken. To be used in such a way, to be lied to, everything just flooded onto me all at once in the car, and I'm driving, and I'm so hopeless. I'm just like, I can't even live no more. I can't live no more, bro. I can't do this anymore. Because this is an amalgamation of years of trying to make something happen. I don't know about everybody. Have you ever tried to put your whole effort, you just putting your whole freaking being into trying to make something happen? Because not only I spent almost $3,000 with this dude, it's the all the other money that I spent and invested in myself. the studio time, the beat, behind the beats, trying to get music video. I had a couple of music videos shot. Yo, those are, none of that is cheap. That's not cheap. I put everything into trying to make it happen. And where I recorded and where I get my stuff done, that's not cheap. My engineers not cheap. None of that is cheap. But when I say I was busting my whole stuff to try to get this going. Even invested into promotional stuff, playlisting, all that stuff. I spent all of that busting my whole stuff, my whole ish, to make something happen, and for it to all be in vain. And that is what I was feeling. It was all in vain. It was for nothing. In that moment, it all felt like, what offers some snake to slither in my life and to dupe me. And just look at everything that happened. Lost my apartment. Lost my apartment. I'm back in my mom's house. I'm broke. My relationship is falling apart with my girlfriend, the woman I loved for the last 4 years. That's falling apart. Everything is just, and I have this one slither of hope where everything is crashing down around me. And this guy basically spat in my face pretty much. So the writing was on the wall, man, and it slapped me real hard. And again, I wanted to end my life right then and there that night. And that's the thing. It's really interesting, man. God is there even when you're not even following him, or if you don't necessarily believe in him, he's still there. And by the grace of God, my girlfriend put herself to the side, and because she called me and she heard me on the phone. She heard how I was. She heard the state that I was in. And again, by the grace of God, that she heard and was open enough to put her selfishness to the side for a second and realize that something's not right, and that I'm not okay. And that it was urgent. And she immediately abandoned her plans of the after hours thing, came, and she said, "Don't go home. Go to the house. Go. I will meet you at the house. Do not go home." And yeah. And I stayed the night with her, because and who knows what would have happened if I didn't. I probably would have hurt myself, because at that point I didn't even know what's the point of living anymore. So that night I was broken down and I was traumatized from that, and still was throughout the time. Even after that, I immediately told that guy, "Yo, I need to work on myself, or I can't, and I need to refocus on other things in my life." And I just pretty much broke ties with that guy immediately. I told him, I wanted to get as far away from him, as far away from me as possible. And I went into a very long depression, all the way from November all the way to around like February. Long depression after that. And more things started falling apart. How I was trying to keep my car from being repossessed, well, I mean, that happened. My car got repossessed. And that was a whole situation to get it back. I left a job that I liked to go to a job that was I really do believe, the more I even like think about it today, is like I'm really believe that, it's a demonic place, and it's where honestly it's soulless and heartless, and how they treat their employees. And I just did that because I just needed more money. I left a job that I really liked to try to just boost my income a little bit, and I just ran into the most demonic job that I ever worked. Like this, those people really are the definition of no F's given about you or your situation or anything. They just treat you how whatever. So not only that, I got manipulated and used. And then on top of that, I was at a job that was treating me like less than a human being. Lost my car, had to switch jobs, and I had to switch jobs. Got my new job, but in the midst of waiting 2 weeks for a check, car got repossessed because I missed a payment. Because I was only a payment enough to where I wouldn't get repossessed. So, But yeah, car repossessed, back at my mom's house. Can't take care of myself. And my relationship with my girlfriend is completely breaking down now. We, I made a mistake. And we both made mistakes. It was man, everything was just falling apart, man. Everything was just falling apart. And yeah, I was drowning and didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was having nightmares. I was just so down bad, man. In the worst way possible. Thank God I didn't turn to drugs. Thank God that I didn't. I was never a drug user like that. Thank God that I was not a alcoholic, or I used alcohol as a way to cope with things. Thank God, man, because I would have either turned to drugs or been drowning my sorrows in the bottle of some alcohol, man. So thank God for that. But it was bad, man. And around this time, though, this is kind of where everything started kind of changing. In 2024, unfortunately, my girlfriend's grandmother passed. And not only that, she had a very traumatic episode from some substance that she consumed that put her through it. And I'm not trying to go into details just out of respect for her, but a lot of things was happening, and it brought her to God. And she started slowly seeking God, but when her grandmother passed, which was probably the worst I've ever seen her since we've been together in the 4 going on 5 years we've been together. I've never seen her like that. Her grandmother was very dear to her, and being raised by her grandmother, her passing like that. And again, I'm not trying to get too much into her business, and give it out here on for public consumption, but losing her grandmother was very traumatic for her. And again, she was already kind of sort of seeking God, but that pretty much was like the final push to push her back to God. And man, she left Houston around the time it was time for the funeral. So this is all around February. This is like around my birthday. She left and she was back like a whole different person, man. When I say just who she was when she left was not who she was when she came back. We had dinner and we spoke, and she was all about God this, God that, Jesus this, Jesus that. And bear in mind, bro, I'm not a believer at this point still. God was doing a work on her, and I will have to admit it was scary for me. I was perplexed. I didn't know what to do with it. I was like, are you a Jesus nut now? I mean, man, I know that it was bad. Like, I know losing someone you care about so dearly can have an effect, but yeah, I think you kind of tripping a little bit. And she was just, letting me know, oh God, this and I think God is calling me to do all these things and that things. And I'm just like, what? Oh my God, she has lost her freaking mind. This girl is going crazy. What is no, my girlfriend is lost, bro. She has lost her mind. But I didn't understand at that point because I wasn't a believer. So, after that dinner and hearing everything and how she's coming to terms and how she was coping, again, for a while, I thought she was crazy for like a good couple weeks. And the more she kept going and going, and I'm thinking, wow, is this like a really a permanent change? And I'm just thinking to myself, like, man, I see my girlfriend going this way, and she's serious about it. That she's serious about going to God. And at this point, I'm in the worst position I have been in my life possible. I got no money, man. I'm struggling. I'm broke. Back at my mom's house. My mom chewing me out. I'm back having to get chewed out over dishes, taking out the trash and all this stuff like that after living on my own for 2 years. Man, I can't pay my child support. I can't do nothing. It's so much going on. And I am just still trying to bounce back. I'm in and out of depression, and I'm just like, man, what am I going to do with myself? What is going on? It's just like, I don't even trust myself anymore, And I think that's the biggest thing that could happen. When you don't even trust yourself anymore, that's a tough, position to be in. But as my girlfriend is beginning her walk with Jesus and seeking Jesus and refuge in becoming a Christian, the secret about my whole time of not believing in God, the whole time, there's been times where I've had thoughts come across my mind, and I've said to myself, man, I need to go to church, because I haven't been to a church in a very long time. I probably haven't been to church since I was like a kid, probably like high school, maybe like 14, 15, maybe. That was like the last time that I was in a church on a Sunday. But I never moved on it. I never acted on it. It was just a fleeting thought. Man, I need to go back to church. So my somewhere inside me, or it was either God was putting it on my mind. He was trying to speak to me for years that I need to go back to church and I need to seek him. I need to call on him. I need to be with him. But being a part of the world and also working through a lot of things that muddies up the understanding of God as a young person in this world, where you really trying to figure out who you are as a person and what you want to be and who you are supposed to be. It's through all of that confusion in the world, marketing and advertising how or what should be and all that stuff. You're working through all of that. God is always speaking. He's always speaking to you, but it's always competing against the noise of the world, right? So he's been calling to me to go to church. But again, it was just fleeting thoughts. I never tried to pursue him. But seeing my girlfriend going again, beginning her walk with Christ, it was scary at first, and I rejected it. And I was like, no, that's not right. And she's saying making all these proclamations and all this stuff like that in the name of Jesus, and Christ is telling her now everything is just Jesus this, Jesus that. I'm like, yo, my girlfriend's not even a freaking person anymore. She's just talking about Jesus all day long. This is scary. This might be the end of our relationship. What? No, this is crazy. And I was rejecting it hard. But after a little bit, I had to really sit and think. I had to sit and really, really think. And it's like, man, truth be told, if I look at the rest of my life, it's like the way I've been doing it has been obviously so wrong. Right? The way I've been doing it has obviously been so wrong. But I really truly thought to myself one day that if my girlfriend is leveling up her life and seeking Christ for the first time in my life, because of my woman, the woman that I want to spend the rest of my life with, was making a change, maybe I need to open myself up to make a change as well. And the thing about it is, me saying it like that is kind of like, oh, so you only went to God because of your girlfriend, right? No, it's even deeper than that. If you think about it, God is the ultimate strategist. God is the ultimate tactician. He knows and does things according in a way where he can reach us the way that we need to be reached for order for his ultimate goal to be accomplished, which is, I'm trying to bring you back to the right side of life and have you back at the throne at my feet. I'm trying to bring you home, and God will tailor make his calling to you in a fashion that will fit you to get your attention, to help you make the decision, because God is a decision. Jesus is a decision. And everybody has to make that decision. Everybody comes to that fork in the road to make a decision. Am I going to keep living my life and leading my life down to destruction? Or am I going to make this decision to go down this path to the path of salvation and freedom. Because all my life, I've been nothing but a slave to so many things of the world. So I've been a slave to my flesh, you know, my sexual immorality, all of the fornication I've done, all of the disrespecting to my body that God has blessed me with, and also talking against God, ultimately talking against God, not believing in him, deliberately talking against the Bible, just like discounting everything about anything with God. Really, I severely rejected it for years. And look where that led me to. I was broken down to such a point where I felt disgusted. I felt so just pumped and dumped, used like a piece of nothing and treated like nothing. And I felt like nothing. And all the decisions I've made has never made me happy. All the decisions I've made on my own understanding has always led me to be depressed, because I have always dealt with chronic depression. I've always been very depressed. I never felt happy about anything. Nothing could maintain my happiness. Happiness was such a finite thing, and it was just so temporal. That's the word I'm looking for. Temporal. It was so temporal, man. It was so temporary. And I would just always have random waves of just being sad. And don't let nothing bad happen or something go off track. I will just sulk in my misery, right? And I always wonder, what is wrong with me? Why do I feel this way? And that's because my soul isn't right. Because I'm living in death. I'm living in my destruction. I'm destroying myself day by day. Killing my own joy day by day. Making all of these decisions that the world wants to tell me that will make you happy. Chase wealth, chase money. If you get all this money, you'll be happy. You get all these cars, all these worldly, useless things that is advertised and shoved into our faces to make us feel like, oh, that's where happiness lies, within materialism. That's where happiness lies, into success in a career. That's what happiness lies. Yes, temporary happiness, but what about your spiritual happiness? A lot of us treat ourselves as just physical beings, but we don't acknowledge ourselves as spiritual beings as well. And excuse me, man, my freaking nose is here. But we don't consider ourselves that, right? And again, this is my thought process as I'm processing what's happening to my girlfriend, because what's happening to me is that she's going freaking crazy. But really, truthfully, no, that's God was starting to do his work on her. And again, like I said, Taylor makes his plans to get his children back home. And for me, it was my girlfriend.